Hello and welcome to another tip from Nick, the Nosey Genealogist at noseygenealogist.com. Okay, today I received an email from somebody who thought that we possibly shared the same ancestor, and it turned out the person they were asking information on I knew quite a lot about. I was able to tell them that I had visited the grave in Long Cross Cemetery at Dartmouth in Devon, and here was a picture, and I obviously emailed that off to them with as much information as I had, and they came back saying, "This is fantastic, thank you. I visit Dartmouth quite often, but I've never found the grave of our ancestors. Please could you give me some directions?" And so I thought, yes, that's easy, I can write those down as best as I know them in an email. But then I thought, wouldn't it be better if I actually sent them a map with our ancestor's grave pinpointed on it? So I headed over to google.co.uk, and then if you can see here, there are tabs, and the fourth one from the left is called Maps. So I clicked on that, and then in the Google Maps search I will type in Long Cross, because that is the area of Dartmouth where the cemetery is. Long Cross, Dartmouth, Devon, and do a search, and that brings us up a map, or in fact in this case I've got the satellite and map turned on. I'm just going to position that more in the center of the pane because I want to zoom in, and of course it does have a habit of zooming in on the center, and so it will take you off line. For example, we're already moving a bit off center, so moving that back as far as I can. Now, from my experience, Dartmouth is obviously down here. The ancestors of ours were from the parish of St Saviour's, which is down here. However, the cemetery is all the way up the Townstall Road, and is, let me see, approximately here, I think. So I'm going to move that into the center of the pane and keep going in. And I now need to move it slightly over here, and this here is the cemetery at Townstall, Long Cross Cemetery, Townstall in Dartmouth, Devon. And you enter in between these two buildings. Now, I had to search all of this area here until I found my ancestor's grave, buried next to a tree, or a tree has now grown, so it's one of these somewhere here. I know that from when I was looking at the grave, I could see this tree here and the building there, and so I'm looking along this line basically, and so I'm pretty certain that it's going to be either there or there. More than likely this one here. So I'm going to move that into the center. Just click in one more time, and right, we're going to select this as being the approximate position next to this bush here. Okay, so now how can I send this location to my correspondent? Well, I'll go over here onto the left hand side and I click on My Places. Now I've already signed in under my name, so that if you haven't, you'll need to create a Google account, and then I create a map, and I'm going to give it a title. I'm going to call it Henry Thomas Thorn grave. Now before I save it, you can see here in the map panel there's a facility to add a place mark, to put a map pin. So I'm going to press on that. Now I want to move the map pin down to the approximate place, which I believed was next to this bush here, and place. And then I'm going to give that the title of and in the description I'm going to fill out a little bit more information. Approximate grave of Henry Thomas Thorn and his wife Ellen Thorn, née Malser, both buried in 1908. And I just clear up my spelling there, which going too fast. Approximate grave position of Henry Thomas Thorn and his wife Ellen Thorn, née Malser, both buried 1908. I'm going to click on OK. And then just go over to save. And now, as you can see, there's a link here called collaborate. And I can now type in the person's email to send them the email with the exact link to my map. And you can obviously add more to your message here. So in fact, when I send the message, I could add in information about the actual ancestor themselves, like Henry Thorn was the skipper of the GWR steamer. Whoops. Henry Thorn was the skipper of the Great Western Railway steamer Dolphin that ran between Dartmouth and Kingswear. Now I can send me a copy of this information. Of course, this is assuming I've put in somebody's email here, and there are advanced permissions here. And then when you've done that, you press OK. So that's a really good way to give information that you've got of positions. Perhaps you wanted to point out where an ancestor's house was, or where they worked, and so on. Okay, thank you very much. I'm Nick Thorn from the Nosey Genealogist.com.